Over the last several years, the central government has built a reputation for legislative momentum. When a major bill enters Parliament, it usually moves in one direction, and it rarely slows down. That was exactly the expectation for the new Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Bill. The FCRA was drafted as a powerful mechanism to strictly track and control the flow of foreign money pouring into domestic NGOs. But the opposition focused intensely on one specific clause. As this flowchart shows, foreign currency enters an NGO and is converted into physical assets. Under the new amendment, if the government revokes an NGO's license, the state instantly seizes those properties. For foreign donors, this is a trapdoor. Capital comes in, but if compliance is breached, that investment is locked down as state property. Despite having the numerical advantage to push this through, Home Minister Amit Shah abruptly announced as the monsoon session closed that the bill would not be passed right now. For an administration that typically powers through opposition pushback without blinking, an outright pause on a major piece of legislation is a massive anomaly. Early complaints about national security overreach are standard fare in Parliament. Usually those complaints are noted, swiftly voted down, and the legislation becomes law. But behind closed doors, a massive multi-front pressure campaign had rapidly built up in the background, testing the limits of the government's resolve. Which raises an obvious question. What kind of combined force actually has the leverage to stop a major national security and transparency bill dead in its tracks? The first wave of resistance was entirely domestic. A coalition of opposition parties, state governments like Tamil Nadu, and various church groups sounded the alarm. They argued the new rules would be used to target and harass specific organizations. But the loudest pushback didn't come from inside India. It came directly from the United States. A massive percentage of the capital funding these Indian NGOs originates from American donors and institutions. If those assets were suddenly vulnerable to state seizure, Washington was going to get involved. That financial concern quickly escalated to high-level diplomatic intervention. U.S. Ambassador Eric Garcetti launched a sudden flurry of active lobbying efforts. Garcetti took the issue directly to India's National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, moving the dispute from a financial discussion into the realm of national security. The political pressure eventually reached the very top, culminating in a direct phone call from U.S. politician J.D. Vance to Prime Minister Modi. The fusion of domestic protests and high-level American lobbying forced the administration to weigh a local regulation against its broader diplomatic relationship with Washington. Facing this coordinated wall of opposition, the government needed a way to halt the diplomatic friction without appearing to retreat. Their solution was to reroute the bill to a Joint Parliamentary Committee, or JPC. Look at how this committee is structured. It's a specialized 31-member group, split by design, containing exactly 21 MPs from the Lok Sabha and 10 from the Rajya Sabha. Their specific mandate is to slow the legislative process down. They conduct detailed, line-by-line scrutiny and hold direct hearings, calling in expert witnesses and the NGOs themselves to state their case. The goal here is to identify specific friction points, like that controversial asset seizure clause, and figure out exactly how to make the final text globally acceptable. Sending a bill to a JPC acts as a political release valve. It takes a volatile international standoff and quietly turns it into a slow, manageable, bureaucratic review. The opposition celebrated the delay, but the FCRA bill is far from dead. It is simply undergoing legislative surgery. Once the hearings conclude, the JPC will compile a comprehensive report recommending specific alterations to the bill's harshest clauses. Legally, the government is not forced to accept a single one of the JPC's recommendations. However, after triggering such severe international blowback, ignoring those suggested compromises is highly unlikely. That pushes the final showdown down the calendar, officially delaying the next vote until the upcoming winter session of Parliament. The true test this winter won't be whether the bill passes. It will be seeing exactly how much of its original bite has been filed down to appease international stakeholders, proving that how foreign money enters India remains one of the country's most sensitive geopolitical flashpoints.
If you value clarity over chaos, explore more on Clear Lens X.